Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, July 22nd, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, December corn up 4 1/4 at 409. November soybeans were up 16 1/4 at 1052 1/4, and December Chicago wheat was up a penny at 569. This morning, we had an export sales announcement from the USDA of 133,000 metric tons of corn to Mexico for 24. Good morning, guys. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I think, as we came in this morning, obviously a lot of news over the weekend geopolitically with President Biden stepping aside and halting his campaign. It'll be interesting to see what shakes out on the Democratic side in the next couple of weeks as they come into the Democratic National Convention. Outside of that, fundamentally, looking at weather for our markets, we got 5 days of pretty cool temperatures, seasonably cooler temperatures across the belt, and then it gets pretty interesting. So, Ben, maybe touch on some of the changes we saw over the weekend to the extended forecast there.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty common for people to try to connect dots to what made something happen. I think the most basic thing that we have going on right now, all the politics aside, is we've gone in for 4 weeks straight and we've spoon-fed nothing but, quasi-bearish information at these markets from larger corn plantings, larger stocks. We did get a nice surprise on the WASD, which we have not exceeded the highs of that day yet. Managed money continues to sell into these markets. We saw a record short in soybeans, and it was, I think, by 7 or 10,000 additional contracts they sold last week.
20 on the bean side.
Yeah, in the beans. There was some light covering in corn, but there's still, for this time of the year, as Rylan mentioned before we came on, this is a record big position. Initially last night, I think there was a lot of excitement of seeing how markets reacted, with a lot of domestic political things happening. And out of the gates, they hit the dollar and commodities were firm, gold, oil, grains. And since then, we've seen oil go negative and metals kind of fade as well. So, maybe the grain's a little over short right now with some finishing weather that's not as benign as, high of 82, low of 67 in rain every 4 days like we've seen for a while. I think it's been a disappointment on every rally for 3 weeks. We'll see if we can kind of overcome that. It's still a game of chicken on who flinches first. We're going to move corn, right? We use 1 billion bushels a month. The managed money position is small in relationship to the grower long, but we know that beans are made in August. They have a humongous position. If things were to continue to deteriorate, the market might take notice here, and we might get another opportunity. So, the political stuff will be a continual vortex of information heading into their convention and through the convention. And we've heard a lot of dialogue over the last 7-8 months that this is an election year. And quite frankly, I don't think there's been a tremendous amount of volatility in the grains. After President Trump tweeted something about agriculture yesterday, maybe it's time for us to get a step at the plate here and have some volatility. One can only hope. As of right now, market's heavily short covering rallies, dominoes, right? We start getting one person nervous, the next person gets nervous, the next person gets nervous. But I think it is going to be a difficult time of the year to get something materially going unless we see a really poor outlook for August and it continues to get worse.
And it's good stuff. Dustin, just a couple of thoughts here as we start the week.
So China unexpectedly cut rates. I think there's a long way for them to go still. So that might be one factor that we have seen some poor economic data out of China. I think that might be some of the commodity weakness concerns that are there. So if they continue to push monetary and fiscal policy, that might help keep demand strong from China. So something to watch. a lot of really weird things happening just outside our traditional, things that we would watch, like weather, but politics. What does that comment from Trump over the weekend, "Make agriculture great again," mean exactly, right? Because if we're talking about negotiating phase one type trade deals, is that something the market's going to be thinking about, or is it first going to come with some pain points like it did last time? How does the market interpret, who leads the polls, and who is on the ticket for the left going into that? If it's Kamala or if it's someone else, I think that change could quickly change the market's perception. If another front, leader came in that might be a stronger candidate than Kamala, that might change the way the market thinks about, Trump's impact on the markets going forward. So I would just say, I am actually struggling to have a really strong opinion right now. I see a lot of the reason why the market's gone down so far. We've had really good weather year to date. We have that, kind of hotter and drier forecast though, and huge political uncertainty again. So you wonder how much bearish news can you throw at the market, and price in, and we still have to finish out the year. So I can see why it's weak and why it could keep going lower. I mean, the bean balance sheet it looks to be quite large. If we eke out a trend line yield, we are going to have a lot of beans left over, and prices could keep going lower. But if we don't have great August weather, a 49 to 50 bean yield, things tighten up pretty quick. So I don't want to have a strong opinion going into August. Just try to keep it to the balance of what a good hedge program looks like with balance, right? For both, high yield, low price, and low yield, high price. So not to be too vague, but that's kind of where we're at going into August.
Oh, very good. We got a couple minutes here. Ryland had cattle on feed out on Friday, and by all estimations, we may get a little bump here based on placements. So what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I think that was the thought just kind of initially after the release of the numbers. So we saw placements down to 93.2 and the market was looking for 97.2. So it's pretty big fall from expectation. On feed was also just slightly below expectations at 100.5. Market was really looking for right around 101. And then marketing's kind of came in pretty close to estimate, but still a little bit below at 91.3 versus 91.7 expected. So, the focus really is going to be the placement number. Just as far as that goes, it just kind of felt like, you look at the weight breakdowns, you see a big down in Kansas placements, but then on the other hand, you see Colorado up big. So it could be a function of cash and just the recent kind of momentum in that cash market. So I think that's something the market's going to be paying attention to. It seems a little bit on the friendly side deferred, especially just kind of staying relatively weak into this report. Feels like everybody may get caught kind of on the wrong side going in if we do see a bit of a pop today. So could see a little bit of a near-term spike, but overall it just feels like there's going to be a lot of focus still on cash this week. I mean, we saw the north starting to come down about $2, 310 in the dress, and generally the style pretty steady. So with that being said, it just kind of feels like we're going to be trading the day and day kind of cash market here, or week to week. So we'd still have the big discount on the board that could possibly narrow here pretty close as we start getting into August, get closer to first notice day and option expiration. So we wouldn't be surprised to see that tighten up. So this report just may exacerbate that, or at least kind of move that timeline up a little bit, but we'll see. Open interest, there wasn't a big change in ownership. You had a little bit of an up here in the live and the feeder side of things. So maybe we did see some new shorts kind of come in, and may regret it come the open. So we'll see how that stacks up. But overall, it just feels like we're just kind of trading this thing just kind of on the cash reactions and the net changes week to week. So we'll see if we got a big shakeup here this week. Otherwise, you're starting to see beef prices start to back off, which is pretty normal at this time. The question is, how low can it go? Choice was down $2 here on Friday, and Select was down just slightly. So we're still around the 313 mark for choice. I mean, I think on the low side of things, you could see that still kind of come down, maybe chop around that $3 level. But as we saw last year, it just started kind of even out at some point. Cash markets started to even out. So maybe we get a little bit more of an uptick the closer we get to Labor Day, or maybe even post Labor Day. But aside from that, just looks like we'll see what the reaction is here on the board, and just kind of go from there, man.
All right, very good. Well, we'll keep an eye on that as well as grain markets, and we'll any new news that comes out in the way of whether it's geopolitical or grain related, we'll be discussing here in the war room. Also, guys, one thing to note: this afternoon we'll have crop conditions out at 3:00 Central. So we'll take a look there, discuss that in our evening commentaries, and then again here in the War Room tomorrow morning. If you like what you hear and love the War Room as much as us, give us a like and subscribe. Subscribing will help you uncover some of the premium content that we put out. So it's good to do that. So go ahead and just click the button there. No cost to do so. So if you like I said, if you love the War Room, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. Every day that the markets are open, we're streaming live on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good conversation. Hope everybody has a good start to the week, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Dan.